Biology is a science that studies life. It has several branches, but the most known are anatomy, the study of internal structure of living things; anthropology, the study of human; botany, the study of plants and their structures; embryology, the study of embryos and their development; biomedicine, the application of biochemistry and biology in humans; biochemistry, the study of physical and physiological characteristics; biology, the study of viruses; immunology, concerned with immunity; cytology is concerned with plants and animal cells; genetics study the heredity; histology studies the structure of tissues; zoology studies the structure of animals. The question of the origin of life on the planet still remains on theories. Some may say it originated by a supreme being such as God, or by spontaneous generation. Others say it was by electrical activity or even by energy at volcanoes. One of the most known is the one that says that it came from the bottom of the ocean. One of the most known is the one that states that life comes from the bottom of the ocean. Very popular is the one of meteorites that transport living organisms through meteorites.
Instrument that allow the human structure by observing is the microscope. This instrument helps us knowing how humanity has increased its knowledge. We have the parts of a microscope. First, we have the eyepiece lens, then we have the tube, we have the arm, we have the coarse focus node, fine focus node, and then we have the base. The resolving nosepiece, the objective, the stage, the spectrum condenser, and the light source. Robert Hooke in 1665, he published all the observations that he made with the microscope he made. He observed small spaces that he named cells. These were dead vegetables. The cell is a morphological and structural unit of all living beings. In other way, a living thing are made up of cells, and the products of cells inherit. Cell contains hereditary information for the control of its development, growth, reproduction, cellula ex cellula, which means every cell comes from a pre-existing word. The cell is the biological unit of life. We can remember to illustrate this section is the beta cell of the eyelid. Mention a timeline by the years that were passing and all this information. In 1665, Robert Hooke started the investigation about the microscope.
Now, let's talk about health and disease. Everything in our body is finely regulated by mechanisms that allow us to maintain homeostasis. Therefore, health. When it happens, a disease is the loss of balance of homeostasis. Since a human being is born, and with the passage of the time, he perceives a series of changes in his body, emotions, and social needs. We have tried to define and classify those changes in order to face them and give them an answer in our daily lives. Currently, health is affected by industrialization, automation, and acceleration of the pace of life. The human being becomes the leading actor and the main responsible in regards to his health. Here are some factors that intervene in health and in the percentage in which they do it. 20% genetics, 20% environment, 10% public health, and 50% lifestyles. They form 100% of factors that intervene in their health. Now, let's talk about also health, but make a little bit of emphasis in adolescent health. Adolescence is a stage that is characterized by transition between two worlds, childhood and adulthood, which implies physical, cognitive, and psychological changes. This stage occurs approximately between the age of 11 and 19 years, while puberty is the period in which a person develops sexual maturity and reproductive capacity. The health is a complete well-being in three areas that the human being has: social, mental, and physical. Now let's talk about each of the three areas of the human being. One of the physical changes closely associated with puberty and adolescence are the hormonal ones. With them begins to increase one hormone, the gonadotropin releasing hormone, which favors of the race of two essential hormones in the reproduction, luteinizing and follicle stimulant. Now, let's talk about mental health. The brain is the one in charge to carry out basic processes, such as emotions, judgment, behavior, and emotional self-control. Finally, talking about social perspective, adolescence has to face with several aspects, as the adaptation of values and development of an identity. After childhood, and when the individual approaches cognitive maturity, the adolescent has the ability to produce more complex reasoning about social issues, such as morality, and develops altruism and empathy, because he considers the opinion. Finally, we will talk about also health, but now of healthy lifestyles. Lifestyles are related to social and cultural behaviors, pertain to diverse groups. Lifestyles are related to personal habits.
The first topic I'm going to talk about is homeostasis. Clover observed the stability of physiological parameters such as blood pressure, heart rate, and body temperature. In 1865, he wrote that all the vital mechanisms vary that they only have one objective, that is, self-maintaining of the internal environment. Each cell will take care of its self-regulation. The preservation of internal condition is achieved thanks to the metabolism. The response to this circuit can be such as positive feedback or negative feedback. One of the examples of positive feedback can be the secretion of milk during the lactation. And the negative feedback regulates most of our functions in our body. One of the examples of homeostasis we have is the production of insulin, and this is one of the negative feedbacks that we have in our body. The insulin stimulates the entry of glucose into the cells and its preferential use. And also the synthesis of glycogen and the synthesis of lipids from the glucose. When this state is achieved, the beta cell stops secretory insulin. A lot of systems in our body. First, we have the circulatory system, which takes all the nutrients and oxygen in our blood to all of our body. Next, we have lymphatic system, which defends our body from disease, and it helps to eradicate anything that can damage our body. And it also helps to regulate the pH. We have the endocrine system, which helps to the communication of our hormones. The integumentary system helps us to the loss of fluids and defends our microorganisms of infections. We also have the reproductive system that produce sex cells and sexual hormones. Its ultimate goal is to produce offspring. The respiratory system helps us to transform the carbon dioxide from outside into oxygen. Urinary system helps us to eliminate the excess of water or blood of waste in form of liquids, and it also controls the pH. Our immune system helps to defend against any microorganism like bacteria or virus that produce or cause any disease in our body.
Cellular transport. Everything that enters or leaves a cell has to pass through the cell membrane. This process is carried out by cellular transport. The cell needs nutrients or nucleus required to carry out this metabolistic activity, and also that the waste or the products it generates come out of it. One by one. Transportation can be active or passive active. Active is this transport spends energy and goes against grenades of concentration. Passive, this transport does not waste energy and goes in a favor and concentration grenades.